You walked past something broken today without deciding to notice. Maybe a door that does not close quite right, or a sound from the car everyone else just accepted. And without deciding to, you noticed it. Filed it. It filed itself in the back of your head somehow. And it stayed there, quietly humming all day. Your partner walks past the same dripping tap always. For months. That tap has been dripping for months. You have already mentally disassembled the entire faucet. Diagnosed the likely culprit, probably the O-ring. Cross-referenced the thread size before finishing coffee. And the strange part is you are not stressed. You are almost engaged by the whole thing. That is not a personality quirk. That is a specific mind. People drawn to fixing things are not just problem solvers. What is actually happening is more particular than that. They see a system that has been interrupted. A gap between what is and what should be functioning. And that gap creates this low-level cognitive itch. A lot of people simply do not experience it this way. The itch does not go away on its own. Not ever. It just sits there humming. Quietly. Always there. Researchers use the term systemizing to describe this. The cognitive drive to analyze how something works. To find the rules governing how everything functions. Your brain maps inputs to outputs involuntarily always. Not just mechanical things, though that is visible. The recipe that keeps going wrong on step 3. The meeting that fails at the same handover every week. Same cognitive process. Different domain. Every time. What tends to get missed is the destination question. The broken thing itself is not really the destination. The moment before it is fixed is where it happens. When you are looking at it, turning it in your hands, forming a hypothesis, that is where something brilliant happens. Most people experience a broken object as stressful. You experience the same broken object as interesting. Those are fundamentally different relationships with the unknown. And they produce quite different lives. Genuinely different. There is a documented trait called need for cognition. The tendency to actively seek out complex thinking. People who score high get more satisfaction from process. More satisfaction from working it out than being told. The diagnostic phase produces its own quiet reward already. The fix is almost a conclusion to something already satisfying, which says something about how you process the world. There is something called the IKEA effect. Worth knowing. People value things they built or repaired much more. More than an identical item they never touched themselves. Researchers called it attachment. But it is more particular. It is about participation in a system's functioning itself. The hand that fixed it cannot separate itself afterward. There is a kind of authorship that happens. Real authorship. Even with something as impersonal as a carburetor. That old car sitting in the garage right now. The one not worth what you would put into it. According to everyone who has an opinion about it. It is not sentimental attachment in the way assumed. The object has become entangled with understanding something. You have been inside it. You know how it works. That is genuinely hard to walk away from. It really is. The other thing unremarked is the tolerance for complexity. When something looks complicated, most people quietly decide. This is not for me. That decision happens very quietly. Fixers do something different. They lean in instead. Not recklessly. With methodical patience from trusting process. That looks like confidence from the outside. It is not. It is more like accumulated evidence. Built over time. Every repaired thing is a data point. Every single one. The problems that looked impossible until they simply were not. They built a track record with themselves. A private one. I have done this before. Did not know the answer going in. Came out the other side with it working. Every time. So this new thing is probably not any different at all. In psychology, this is called mastery motivation. Listen, one of the most durable forms of drive ever studied. What makes it durable is the external reward is incidental. Empty garage. Nobody watching. Same satisfaction arrives anyway. The system functioning again is the point, not the recognition. This also explains something. Said with complete affection. Why explaining what you fixed to someone who did not ask? Who clearly does not have the vocabulary to follow along? Is apparently non-negotiable. Every single time. It is not for them. Saying it out loud finishes the experience. You know exactly what I am talking about. You do. There is something worth sitting with, though. Something real. Systems are honest in a way that people sometimes are not. A mechanical problem tells you what is wrong. Honestly, it has rules. Logic you can follow all the way through. You test a hypothesis, and the system gives real feedback. People are considerably messier than any mechanical system. The causes are not always visible, not always findable. The solutions do not always hold the way repairs hold. Sometimes you do everything right and still do not understand. Fixers bring the same methodology to relationships. Always. It mostly works. Until it meets something not a system. Some things do not have a root cause you can find. Some things are just part of life. That is harder to hold. Harder to hold than a carburetor with a faulty needle valve. But here is what makes this way of living remarkable. And I mean that plainly, not as a compliment to deflect. There is an underlying assumption that drives all of it. The fixer's premise. There is a reason things are this way. That the reason can be found if you look carefully enough. And that once found something can work better than now. That is actually quite an unusual thing to keep believing. You probably do not call yourself an optimist. Too practical. But what is it to look at something broken and think, yeah, I can work with this. Quietly. Without drama. If not a stubborn evidence-based faith that things can improve. Next time you reach towards something not working right, notice that. That pull toward wholeness. That is not separate from you. It might be one of the more honest expressions of it. Share this with someone who fixes things and never heard this. Drop what you most recently could not stop yourself fixing. Subscribe ClearWay. Real psychology.